feel like the audio played.
It did.
Yeah. Always the dream. Always the dream. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday temperature check. Hope that you're having a fantastic day. I really have to figure out how to control these banners. Like, it always is like right at the bottom of my mouth. So, like, anyways, it is a absolutely fabulous Thursday. I am feeling particularly delightful because all of my client bids have been really super easy this week. And so I'm like just coasting. As a matter of fact, I'm like jumping in on other client stuff and like stepping in to like help. And yeah, it feels really good at this exact moment, which means I know it can't last. So I'm gonna enjoy. Anyways, my name is Ben Klein. I'm the owner of Geek Proposals and the Chief Recipe Officer at Proposal Industry Experts. With me today is Rochelle Ray, owner of RMR Consulting, and the fabulous Chief Bakers Officer at Pi. And then joining us today is a member of our Baker's Dozen, Lauren Leulu. I was going to do it wrong. Did you see that? Even after asking you, I still want to like.
Everyone does it wrong. It's fine. Everyone does it wrong.
That's so bad though. Like that's an early sign of dementia or Alzheimer's on me, I think. Like.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I'm hoping not, but yeah, like anyways, moving on from there. You own Leulu and Co, right?
Yeah.
Is the name, and had just a fabulous presentation. I just want to tell you, like I had to go back and rewatch it about pricing yourself as a consultant, and I was like, I have been doing this all wrong. I'm very much like slide a number across the desk and be like, will you please pay this? Anyways, so I know I've been like, Rochelle is privy to like my private kind of behind the scenes, like I'm going to try to raise my prices and see if how many people fire me. So anyways, as part of our series, we're trying to introduce you to the Baker's Dozen. These are the 13 individuals who kind of move the community along. They vet our ideas and listen. Lauren, you have a pretty big assignment coming up. Rochelle and I have been working hard on like trying to capture all of the projects that we had in kind of some level of completion and kind of throw them at all to say like, what do you think we should prioritize for our community? So this is where the rubber hits the road. So good luck. But why don't you, from what I understand today, we're going to have Lauren introduce herself. Then we're going to go into Lauren's specialties, which are two-parters. I'm sure she has more, but two-parters around graphic design and also around government bidding. And then Lauren has a tale to tell us, and then we'll finish off with all the news, Pie and Excited. So there you go. It'll be an action-packed 30 minutes. So with that in mind, Lauren, tell us about yourself.
All right. So as Ben kindly introduced me, I am Lauren Leulu. I'm the founder, owner, CEO person of Leulu & Co. We focus on proposal graphics, graphic design, marketing for government contracting. And one of our new service lines is called GovCon Launchpad, where we help B2B businesses hopefully become B2G. So in my spare time, I like to collect vinyl records. I like to scrapbook, and I like to try to find spare time because I am also on the board of the Richmond LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to school for government contracting in the George Washington University School of Law. And I'm also a Baker's Dozen member. So yeah, that's
such a I just want to tell you, there are moments when the pie is too stuffed, where there's like too much stuff in the pie. Yeah. Like simplify on those ingredients. Well, that is amazing. That is so much that you're involved in. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
And so, how do you find consulting so far? Like you've been doing it for a while, so.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 2.5 years, and I love it. I love not having a boss, and that's something that my husband had to tell me at first. Is just like, you have clients, you don't have a boss. You are the boss. Mm-hmm. And that's something that was kind of hard for me to grasp at first, but now I've grasped it and take it to heart, like, every time. I like having agency. I like choosing my own hours. I like choosing what I work on. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Super. Well, Rochelle and I both have different specialties in the things that we do. I feel like Rochelle is more on the creative side. So, I mean, like, why don't we just dive into that whole graphics portion? Because honestly, this is voodoo slash mystery slash the Rubik, like the Rubik's Cube to me. Like these, I know that I need to have graphics in, and salespeople are always telling me like, "Hey, that's a real big wall of text. Have you thought of breaking that up?" And I'd be like, "Yes. Do you have something?" So why don't you yeah, how about you tell me, like, how do you approach graphics in a bid?
Yeah.
Because your entire consultancy is based on that. So
Mhm.
who knew?
Yeah. So, yeah, like the way that we approach graphics is there's two ways. There's conceptualization, which goes into sitting with a subject matter expert, getting their ideas, sometimes drawing out their idea and helping them translate their idea from their messy little thoughts into a nice graphic. And then there's also the whole like, okay, give me a really simple whiteboard drawing and I will make it pretty. I do both. I
Yeah.
prefer the first one because sometimes a whiteboard drawing is a doozy. But yeah, I've gotten graphics from PowerPoint, Visio, whiteboard drawings, cocktail napkin drawings, and stick figures that point to one another to show staffing models. So yeah.
I would 100% be the stick figure provider to you. I would be like, hey, there's a guy and he's standing here with a cell phone, and I want something that shows, actually, humorously, a long running piece for Rochelle and I is when we test some of the AI picture generation tools.
Mhm.
And I am looking forward to the new Apple to test that tool, and the new Gemini to test that tool
Mhm.
inside of the phones. But basically, I have this graphic that I almost always have to use on so many of my commercial bids, because so much of our work is what happens on the phone. The information transmits up to the cloud. I always say up. I mean, the cloud could be on the bottom, but realistically it's on the ground, whatever. Anyways, and then from there, it goes back to like some server farm or something like that where the information is needed, right? And like that is I'm constantly being asked to like prepare some variation of that graphic.
Mhm.
And I've always been asking like the tools, like, make it for me, and they never do.
Right.
So, how do you feel about AI tools or AI tool drawing or anything like that? Like, is there any value in that for you, or?
There totally is. Like, I have gotten some clients who send me graphics through, their different means like Dolly. And then they're like, I want something like this, but I want the text to make sense because AI does not understand human language at all.
Yeah.
So they'll basically, it's another way of drawing. You know, it's just like if you don't want to draw the stick figures and you want to describe the stick figures, describe it, and then I will make it make sense for you. But I have a funny story about cloud. Like, I used to live in Loudoun County, Virginia,
Yeah.
where almost the whole internet lives. And because there's server farms for AWS like all over Ashburn. So there was one woman in a group that shall not be named on Facebook, and she said, my daughter is wondering why there are so many server farms when everything can be sent to the cloud. And I was sitting there like, my husband works in IT, so I had to show him.
Yeah.
I was just like, what does she think the cloud is? Does she think it's like cumulonimbus?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
An
Yeah.
actual cloud sitting up there,
Actual
just
cloud.
like intaking data.
Mhm.
Data stored in water molecules. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, work on this idea right away, because then we'll have oceans of data. Data lakes will take on a whole new meaning.
Data lakes is like, yeah.
All right. Kathleen says she wants new series of pie memes. So stick figures in peril, the proposal edition.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, there should be a comic, like some sort of like this in the line of like not Doonesbury, but what's that other one where like it's the engineers? What is that? And you
Dilbert?
see it. Dilbert, yes, you see it on everyone's cubicle. Like, we could do that just for proposal managers.
Oh, that was perfect. Oh my god.
I think we need a community challenge.
I like these ideas. All right, moving on. We always get wild. All right. How about you, Rochelle? Like, you use graphics a lot, but yours are, I mean, I I don't know.
Yes, I don't. So I lay things out and I make them look pretty on the page, and for some reason people have translated that to graphic designer, but I'm nowhere near the level of like Lauren where I can vision out like, okay, let's create this beautiful infographic or a custom visualization of a concept for somebody. Uh those are superpowers that I don't have. So I'm very much like in the, "Hey, AI, can you just, like, give me inspiration on what
Right.
this could look like?" And then I go and I try and make it work for my proposal within my means, right? But my stuff is very, like it's very boxy and methodical. I wouldn't call it creative, I wouldn't call it inspired in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Okay.
But something that happens to me a lot is someone says, "Hey, you're the graphic designer on this team. Can you go through the text and flag things that would be good for graphics?"
Hmm.
And that to me, I'm like, I just look for anything that's bulleted or numbered, and that's typically like a good indication of something that could become a graphic. But
Mhm.
Laura, I'm wondering if you have a better way to do that. Like, are there things that you look for? Does this ever happen to you?
It happens all the time. And like not this past RF win, but the one before that, I talked about the importance of anchor graphics and proposals.
Yes, I remember that
Mhm. And the to me, if something's explaining a difficult concept, or you're trying to explain your overall solution, or you're explaining pieces to the puzzle. Like those are always valuable things to create graphics for. So, the anchor graphic, like I described way back when, is your overall arching solution. And then the pieces to that puzzle can be separate graphics within your proposal that are just themed, and it's like a smaller literal piece of the anchor graphic like throughout the proposal. And like I said, like swim lane diagrams, you're just explaining like where things belong. As long as you can describe the graphic and the text briefly, but show the graphic like a picture literally says like a bajillion words.
one.
So, and it can help shorten your proposal like page length. It can help break up walls of text. It can help take a difficult concept and make it a lot easier to understand. And I think a lot of people just don't understand the value of that.
Hmm. Yeah, no, like honestly, messaging gets lost. No one is going to read my 3 pages of text explaining, why our encryption is end to end. But if I put up a symbol of like a server here, and there's a big lock in between or something like that, right? Like they understand, oh, there's something, block it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Interesting. So and now I'm curious because your consultancy is entirely based around is based around graphical design. So do you find like are people considerate of that? Like, I'm assuming your existing clients have workflows with you, but like new clients that are bringing you in, do they just kind of like, hey, we're in the final stages of our bid, like we're in red review or something like that? Like,
That
here's
happens more often than I think people would like to admit.
yeah.
So a lot of my clients come to me from word of mouth or just seeing our content on LinkedIn, and they're like, "Oh, good gravy! I have a proposal due tomorrow, and it is a wall of text." And I'm like 90% of the time, I'll be like, "Just okay, let's do this," because it gives me repeat business.
You are amazing.
All right. So basically, people are not thinking about them in beginning.
No.
Have you had a situation where someone has brought you in from the beginning, and have you found that that has like improved the process? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
So one thing I was taught, and then I echoed in my anchor graphics presentation, is you should start creating the anchor graphic or that just big diagram and draw it out before you start writing,
Okay.
because it could help structure your proposal, could help you bring out new ideas. It could just, it's just overall beneficial to have the anchor graphic or just the overarching graphic, whatever you want to call it, in place before you write a sentence of text. It's hard,
Wow.
but once you get in the hang of it, you'll improve your proposal process.
Okay, and so I'm fascinated now because, of course, I'm a process guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, at kickoff, I have an inkling in my head maybe of what's going into this proposal, but I don't really know. So when are we creating this grand poobah anchor graphic? Like, is it at the kickoff? Is it slightly after the kickoff, but before we do what? Like,
Yeah,
first.
so I would say have your kickoff, and then whatever solutioning session you have after that kickoff could be like a solutioning / doodling session, where you literally get people on like a whiteboard or a digital whiteboard and you all draw it out. And that could either become just your proposal structure with smaller graphics, or it could become your big anchor graphic after you make it sensical and pretty.
Wow. Okay. I'm excited about this. Of course, last week we had Ama Kabina on to talk about doodling your way through your career.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, and so I had this idea of like adding that to my postmortems, like as a way of like demonstrating, how the bid went and stuff like that. I feel like I'm going to go to my clients and they're going to be like, Ben, what happened to you? You used to be so analytical and now you're an artist.
You can be an analytical artist. You totally can be an analytical artist.
Okay, fantastic. Michelle, do you have any other questions or?
Well, so I kind of wanted to lead into Lauren's other specialty, and the way I want to do it is because, Lauren, your other hot topic is federal GovCon contracting, which you are incredibly well versed in. I'm going to give a little bit of background here. Federal contracting scares everything out of me. If you want me to like go hide under a rock for the rest of my life, like give me an SF330 to work on. So federal to me, in my mind, is a very dry, not creative, wall of text, lots of forms type contracting. And so I'm really interested in how those two things blend together in your business. Like, how are you, this amazing creative graphic artist, in federal contracting? How do those go together?
Yeah, so that's really ever since I got out of college, it's all I've ever known. So I worked for small VA contractor. Then I worked for a small, primarily health and human services contractor. And I thought I was over it. And I went to a B2B business and I helped them become B2G. And then I just decided to do proposal management for a government contractor. And I ended up doing proposal management, marketing, and graphics for that contractor. And now I'm doing all of that except proposal management, my consultancy. And I used to love art in school. And my favorite thing about my journalism degree from undergrad was like desktop publishing and, laying out something for like a newspaper layout or laying out something for a website. So, I was able to bring those skills and that passion to that very dry, government contracting world and help them explain tough concepts in an interesting way. Like most of my expertise in government contracting comes from working with federal IT contractors. So with that, there is a lot of text, but there are a lot of ways to make that text interesting about explaining those difficult concepts for those source selection authorities that might not quite understand technology. So I think me not being like a totally technical person helps that.
Absolutely.
All right. And government deserves good pictures too, right?
Yeah.
Like, they deserve to have a good reading experience through your
I joke that like whenever they have you do a hard copy submission, it's always around for some reason back to school time so they can use all those binders for their little kids.
I've had this theory for a long time too. When a school district is like, we want 9 hard copies in 3-ring binders, I'm like, you're giving those to your teachers. I'm here for it, but
this is hilarious. I've never had that thought. Y'all are blowing my mind. That hard copies are government grift.
Absolutely, just stealing supplies.
Tell you what, I will buy all of your kids' hard binders if I never have to print a bit again. How many kids in your office? Done.
Yeah.
I even for one of my clients, we actually wrote into our thing, hey, if you like in one of our questions to the bidder, listen, if we don't have to submit hard copy, we will take $2,500 off the cost of your bid. No problem.
Yeah.
Did it work?
It's hard.
No.
No.
But one
I
day.
can't working with the federal government here either, but
It never hurts to ask.
Yeah. All right. So you're in government contracting. Every time I hear B2B and B2G, I think Bob and Big. I don't know why. That's just the way my brain operates on this. But but you've been doing this for a while, and now you're going to school for it. So why that? Why that? Like, why do you need to go back to school for this?
I'm a glutton for punishment. So that's that's the short of it. But the long of it is like government contracting to me is kind of like a game that's very specific rules. And when you play the game well, you can kind of have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I was an undergrad, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer after a while. So I was like at one point I was the vice president of Pre-Law Society. And I didn't understand how to like merge creativity with law. So I was just like, I'm going to become a copyright lawyer. But then I took classes with like my favorite professor. His name's John Augenbaugh at VCU. He's wonderful. He's a poli-sci professor. And he taught me about like not only like the Supreme Court of the United States, but also administrative law.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really passionate about administrative law. And I never quite understood it until I got into government contracting, because that is a very misunderstood area of administrative law. And when I started to understand it, I was just like, oh my God, Augie's little weird passion for administrative law actually makes sense to me in my little brain. So, it's kind of a marriage between like the creative, like, passion that I have, plus like the whole like legal thing I wanted to do.
Mm.
So
yeah, I have to admit I do enjoy interacting with my legal departments for all my clients and stuff like that. They're a fun group of people. You get some very stiff lawyers who are like, I don't like that wording, and then you get others that are like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
let's just be vague and weaselly at this stage. Like we don't need to red line right now. Like, all right, that's awesome. And so what's in the future for Leulu and Co?
So, more proposal graphics.
Lulu.
Yeah.
Get it. Yeah.
More proposal graphics. We're working on a rebrand for a small government contractor right now that we're very excited about. And just helping out more B2B companies that are like, pretty mature, help them find government contracts and help them find, primes that they can sub under and get that past performance and eventually become a prime.
Yeah, that's definitely tough for them to make that jump.
Yep.
We have friends in the amalgamation who tell us that it's a challenge all the time. So
right.
All right. Well, listen, we are coming up to the last 5 minutes of the show. So with that in mind, we'd like to bring on that section that we call Tales from the Pitch. And this is born from like my desire to hear the fantastic stories when I went to conferences of everyone's like fun little bids. It's what kept me alive in this business for the first little while. So, I mean, you're in government contracting. Let us know. Have you had an interesting proposal story?
I'll tell you how I got into proposal graphics because it was weird. Okay. So young little me, 21 years old in 2014, graduated college, and we went up to Northern Virginia because my husband got a job at Freddie Mac and I had no job yet. My husband had lung cancer, so I was taking care of him. And it was hard for me to find a job. Then I finally found a job at a small VA contractor, and I did not know what government contracting was at all. So I quickly learned, and, because they had me read all this material so I could effectively be their marketing coordinator. And then one weird day, the eccentric COO of the company came and hung out by my cubicle. He's like, hey, Lauren. I'm just like, hi. And he was just like, did you do graphic design in college by chance? I was just like, yes. He's like, good, you're staying late tonight. And I was just like, okay, what the heck? So, I stayed for 2 nights in a row to help with a last minute like VA IDIQ, and which is just like, for lack of a better term, big umbrella contract. And I did like a lot of proposal graphics and quickly learned what made a good proposal graphic. Quickly learned that you only have 6.5 inches of space across a page to do a proposal graphic in,
Yeah.
and learned a lot about our company and our business. So, took that, ran with it, became their proposal graphic artist for the entirety of the time I was there. And I've been doing it ever since. Even when I thought I wanted to get out of it, I just made it a business.
That's fabulous. I'm so confused though. How did was he just scrolling through random resumes inside his company and he's like,
I had been there for like, let me think, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks, when he would just like, we have a marketing coordinator now. She might know a thing or two about graphics. And they were lucky that I did.
they were fishing for a skill.
They were fishing for a skill within the company. Yeah.
That's so great.
Wow. Wow. I don't even know how to handle that. I don't know how to process that.
Yeah.
I would feel very weird about any executive coming back up to me and being like, you're staying late tonight. I'd be like,
it was funny because I was hourly, made a very little wage back then. I was quickly salaried after that.
Oh, yeah. Because they're like,
so they wouldn't have to pay me overtime. And I was just like, well, I'm making more money, but I probably could have made more money if I had just begged to be hourly.
Yeah. But so I don't know if you have this in the States, but in Canada, even if you're a salaried employee, you're still entitled to overtime or time off in lieu if you are not a manager or a tech professional, or like there are a variety of like exempted positions, but yeah, as long as you're not one of those.
Yeah, the U.S. plays fast and loose with those definitions. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have exempted, but I don't know how you attain that.
Yeah, we are proposal managers, but a manager is like in control of time, managing people, able to like structure the projects that they work on. No.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, Lauren, thank you so much. Lauren Leulu, where can we find you online?
LinkedIn. That's my biggest place to find me. Funnily enough, I'm the only Lauren Leulu.
I'm not 100% sure that's.
Yeah. No, I think it is. Like, my husband has a very unique Ethiopian last name, and I stole it. But you can also find us at luluandco.com. We publish a lot of blogs, a lot of knowledge pieces. And yeah, I'm chronically online. So if you email me, you'll get an email back in like 5 minutes.
Fair enough. All right. And you can find her in the Pi community as well. And speaking of the Pi community, we just had our first kind of co-working session. It was a lot of fun for me. I got a lot of work done. We had our first doodle-in session, and that was a lot of fun. What else do we have on the future for us, Rochelle?
We have another co-working session coming up on the 24th, I believe. It is a later afternoon. I like that you're both shaking your heads like, yes, we know this. Like, oh, okay, perfect. I got the date right. I forgot to check the calendar. That one is for our paid members only. So if you are looking for extra slices of pie, this is one of them. So hop on over. And then we're queuing up some stuff for next month that I'm not ready to tease out yet, but stay tuned.
Perfect. Well, there you have it. And look at that. We're almost going to finish on time today. Lauren, thanks so much for being on. Rochelle, as always, a delight to be in your presence. And with that in mind, hope that you all are not working through this weekend. I know that it looks like I just got a text on my Teams chat right here that says the last bid is out the door. So Friday fun day. And hope that all of you aren't going into the weekend stressful. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you here next week. Thank y'all. Oh, and of course I didn't hit the branding thing properly because I never do.